All right, guys, the big thing for me with this game is, look, this is a Detroit team that's not really used to being the favorites. They're big favorites in this game, and they come out and they dominate and they look like it. What type of message does that send that the Lions just handle the business the way that they're supposed to?
Yeah, David, something that Daryl was on right away with Dan Campbell, didn't want to buy into that. We haven't done anything yet, which sounds like coach speak, but he enforces that. And I think we saw that. This is a game that good teams have to win. It could have been a trap game, right, with Carolina coming in winless. And you saw as recently as with the Chiefs battling with the Jets when there's desperate teams. But this team does have something special, Daryl, and you've talked about it. And we say team for a reason.
Yeah, I think the biggest part about what Detroit is doing right now is they are a team. No Amon-Ra St. Brown today. No Brian Branch today. Those are two key players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and they don't ever seem to miss a beat. You know, next guy up mentality, we hear that said a lot, but it's really a part of what they're doing here. This is not a team that has a handful of players that they rely on every single week to go out and win football games. It's every man on deck. It's every position. They talk about the depth. It's the culture that Dan Campbell has created here that these guys have bought into, and now you're adding more talented players into that environment, and you're starting to see the benefits. So I think that this is a dangerous team moving forward. But Dan Campbell's never going to say that. You know, we are always on the hunt. We are not the ones who are being hunted. We are the ones that are on the hunt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come to the front porch if you want to see us. But I don't think enough could be said about Jared Goff. Cast off. He's a Super Bowl quarterback, and he really has been outstanding and fit with this team and this mentality. It's good to have a leader like that on your team.
Thanks, as always, for the time, guys. Lions offense definitely getting the job done on the day. Just a very casual 377 yards, 42 points. Not the most explosive day. Doesn't need to be, but hey, 6 touchdowns. Nobody's mad about it. I want to make sure we shout out this Lions defense. One guy in particular that I want to highlight. I don't know how much number 2 overall picks fly under the radar, but it feels to me like Aiden Hutchinson is under the radar compared to a Micah Parsons, a TJ Watt, a Myles Garrett. And I don't know if he's NFL Defensive Player of the Year, but Aiden Hutchinson, 3 tackles on the day, a sack, a pass breakup, a quarterback hit, and an interception of Bryce Young. Not a bad day at the office. Not a bad season that the second-year guy is putting together. Like I said, I don't know where you stack him with those other guys because they are all incredible. But I don't know that Aiden Hutchinson is really getting as much shine as he deserves for being worth every bit of a number 2 overall pick. Lions defense was dominant. Nobody should be overly impressed with the Panthers offense. I think we've learned that over the course of 5 weeks. But still, you hold the opposition to 340 yards. Bryce Young at 6 yards per attempt. The Panthers had 10 points coming into the fourth quarter. 35-10 is as big of a beatdown as you can find in the NFL. They score 14 of their 24 points in garbage time when this thing was well in hand. Like I said, I think it's very impressive for the Detroit Lions to be 10-point favorites, to be a popular Survivor pool pick team. They were my pick in Survivor this week. This was one of those games that was not supposed to be interesting, and it was not interesting. And we're used to seeing that from the Chiefs and the Bills and the Eagles and all of these contenders. That is not a status that we have associated with the Lions in modern memory. Even when they're a favorite, it's not supposed to look this easy. It would have been very predictable to say, classic Lions, they were 10-point favorites, and they either lost or they eked out a 6-point win that was way more uncomfortable than it needed to be. But they were ready from the jump, man. They were all over Carolina from the very beginning, 14-0 after 1 quarter. Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was just clean, easy, efficient, fun football. And that is what good teams do. Teams that are supposed to win their division, teams that are supposed to compete for playoff spots, win games in convincing fashion like this. The Lions, I think after that trio at the top, after your Philly and your San Francisco and your Dallas, you could easily make a case for Detroit as the next best team, maybe them or Seattle. We'll see what happens Monday night. Green Bay traveling to face the Raiders, but it's possible the Lions could really be in command of this division by the start of week 6. And that's a fun spot to be. The Lions were thought of as division favorites, and they look every bit that good so far. Like the guys joked about when I was talking to them, maybe Dan Campbell doesn't want to admit that, but the facts are the facts. It's an incredibly fun start to the season for the Lions, and I'm excited to see them kind of owning the role as favorite. It looks good on them.